men! Here, master! What cheer?
Good, speak to the mariners! Fall to it, Yarley, or we'll run ourselves aground! Mister!
Aye, my hearts! Cheerily, my hearts! Yar! Take in the topsail! Tend to the master's whistle! Blow till thou burst thy wind, if room enough!
Good boatswain, have care! Where's the master? Play the men!
I pray now, keep below!
Where's the master, boatswain?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labour! Keep your cabins, you do assist the storm!
Nay, good, be patient!
When the sea is, hence! What cares these roarers for the name of Queen? To cabin, silence! Trouble us not!
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard!
None that I love more than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and to work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot give thanks to have lived so long and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it so hap, cheerily, good hearts, are out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good fate, to his hanging. Make the rope of his destiny our cable, for our own doth little advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast! Yar! Lower! Bring her to trial with the main course.
Yar!
A plague upon this howling. Yar! They are louder than the weather of our office. Yet again, what do you hear? Shall we give over and drown? Have you a mind to sink?
A puff in your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, incharitable dog!
Work you then.
Anchor, hang you, whoreson, insolent noisemaker. We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell and as leaky as an unstanched wench.
Lay her a hold. Set her 2 courses up to sea again. Lay her hold.
All last! To prayers! All last!
What, must our mouths be cold?
The Queen and Prince of Prayers? Let's assist them, for our case is as theirs.
I'm out of patience!
We are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards. This white-chap rascal would thou mightst lie drowning the washing of 10 tides.
He'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at widest to glut him.
Let's all sink with the Queen.
Let's take leave of her.
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground. Only ground flowers. The wills above be done. I would fain die a dry death.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel that had, no doubt, some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed, and the fraughting souls within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous soul there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day.
Well, no harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee. My dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am better than Prospero, master of my full poor cell, and thy no greater father.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee, father. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the wreck which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, and have with such provision in mine art so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair bitted any creature in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou saw'st sink. Sit down, for thou must now know, father.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come. The very minute bids thee ope thine ear. Obey, and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came into this cell? I do not think thou canst, for thou wast not out 3 years old.
Well, certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Or anything that the image that tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance?
It is far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberst aught ere thou camest here, How thou camest here, thou mayst.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda. 12 years since. Thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are not you my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said, thou wast my daughter, and thy father was Duke of Milan, and thou his only heir, and princess no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed was we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly holp hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the team that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Well, please you, father.
My brother, and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee, mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He, whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at that time through all the signories I was the first, and Prospero, the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend me?
Yes, sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected out how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance, who to trash for overtopping, new created creatures that were mine. I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts of the state to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy that hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure out on't. Thou attendst not.
Oh, good sir, I do.
I prithee mark me, I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind with that which, but by being so retired, o'erprized all popular rate, in my false brother awakened an evil nature. And my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence on bound, he being thus lauded, not only with my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a singer of his memory to credit his own lie, he did believe he was indeed the Duke. Out of the substitution, the executing the outward fate of royalty with all prerogative, hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough of temporal royalties, he thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so dry he was for sway with the Queen of Naples, to give her annual tribute, do her homage, subject his coronet to her crown, and bend the dukedom, yet unbowed. Alas, poor Milan, a most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens.
Mark his condition and the event, then tell me if this be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition. The Queen of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that she, in lieu of the premises of homage and I don't know how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honours on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight fated to the purpose, that did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness, the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self.
Alack, for pity! I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now's upon us, without the which this story were most impertinent.
But wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colours fairer painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues out to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a boat. Not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively had quit it. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds that whose pity sighing back again did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubim thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt under my burthen groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what would ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had, and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which whence have steadied much. So, of his gentleness, knowing that I loved my books, he furnished me from my own library with volumes I prize beyond my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see that man.
Now I arise. And sit still, and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princesses that have time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
Heavens thank you for it. And now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm.
Know thus far forth. By accident most strange, bountiful fortune now, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court but not omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come! Come away, my servant! Come! I am ready now! Approach my aerial car!
All hail, great master, great sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task, Ariel, and all his quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the Queen's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometime I'll divide and burn in many places, on the top mast, the yards and bowsprit. Would I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightnings, the precursors, oh, the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dead, dread trident shake.
My brave spirit! Who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul, but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel, then all afire with me, the Queen's son, Ferdinand, with hair up staring, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leaped, cried, "Hell is empty, and all the devils are here!"
Why, that's my spirit! But was this not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badest me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The Queen's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting his arms in this sad knot.
Of the Queen's ship, the mariners, say how thou hast dispersed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbour is the Queen's ship, in the deep nook where once thou calledst me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still-vexed Bermuths. There she's hid. The mariners all under hatches stowed, who, with a charm joined to their suffered labour, I have left asleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again, and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the Queen's ship wrecked and her great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, moody? What is't thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out. Ha! No more.
I prithee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistaking, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost. And think'st it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost?
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was thrown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak! Tell me!
Sir, in Argia.
Oh, was she so? I must once a month recount what thou hast been which thou forgett'st. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible, to enter human hearing from Argia, thou know'st, was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is this not true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportest thyself, was then her servant, and for that thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and uphold commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, wherein which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the sun that she did litter here, a freckled, whelp-born hag, not honoured with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so. He, that Caliban, whom now I keep in the service. Thou best knowst what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make the wolves howl and penetrate the breast of ever-angry beasts. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurst, I will rend an oak and peg thee in its knotty entrails till thou hast howled another 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be correspondent to command and do my spiriting gently.
Do so. And after 2 days, I will discharge thee.
Oh, that's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go, make thyself a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but mine and thine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape, hither come it. Go, go, hence with diligence. Awake, dear heart. Awake, thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on. We'll visit Caliban, my slave, and whoever yields us kind answer.
Oh, wait, 'tis a villain, sir. I do not love to look on.
As it is, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetching our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho! Slave! Caliban! Thou earth! Come on! Speak!
There is wood enough within.
Come forth, I say. There's other business for thee. Come on, thou tortoise. When? Come on, thou poisonous slave. Got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam. Come forth!
As the wicked do, as ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, it dropped on you both. A southwest blow on ye, and blister you all over.
For this, be sure, tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall, for that vast of the night, that they may work all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine, by a Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me when thou camest first. Thou it strokest me, and madest much of me, wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs, brine pits, barren place and fertile. Cursed be I that did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you. For I am all the subjects that you have, which was first mine own king. And here you style me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep me from the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, who stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honour of my child.
Would have been done. Now this prevent me. I had peopled else this island with Calibans.
Hot slave, which any prince of goodness wilt not take, be capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, who wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made 'em known, but thy vile race, though thou didst learn, had that in it which good natures were not able to abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. The Red Plague rich you for learning me your language.
Hagseed, hence! Fetch us in fuel, and be quick. Thou art best to answer other business. Shrugst thou, malice, if thou neglectst or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee. I must obey. His art is of such power. I would control my damn's god, Estetipos, and make a vessel of him.
So, slave, hence!
Come unto these yellow sands, and then take hands, curtsied when you haven't kissed the world with wrist, footed fleetly here and there, and sweet sprites the burthen bear. Hark, hark, the watchdogs bark. Hark, hark, I hear the strain of strutting chanticleer.
Where should this music be? In the air? Or the earth? It sounds no more. Sure, it waits upon some god of the island. Sitting on a bank, weeping again the queen my mother's rep. This music came by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. And thence I have followed it. Or it hath drawn me rather. But 'tis gone. No. It begins again.
Full fathom 5 thy mother lies, of her bones a coral made. Those are pearls that were her eyes, nothing of her that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Seen him slowly ring her knell. Hark now, I hear them, ding dong bell.
This ditty does remember my drowned mother. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtain of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yond.
What is it? A spirit? Lord, look how it looks about. Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench. It eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have such. This gallant, which thou seest, was in the wreck. But he's something stained with grief, that's beauty's canker. Thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find them.
Oh, I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, find spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure the goddess on whom these airs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer. May I know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder, if you be made or no?
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language! Heavens! I am the best of them that speak this speech. Where I but is where is spoken.
How? The best? What wert thou if the Queen of Naples heard thee?
A single thing, as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes never since at ebb beheld the Queen, my mother, wrecked.
Alack, for mercy!
Yes, faith, and all her lords, the Duke of Milan, and her brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee, if now 'twere fit to do it. The first sight they've changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity it move my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. There was in each other's powers, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. 1 word more I charge thee, that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name that thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the Lord on't.
No, as I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with it.
Follow me! Speak not you for him, he's a traitor. Come on! I'll manacle thy neck and thy feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, or the withered roots and the little husks that the acorns cradled in. Come on, follow!
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Ha!
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial of him, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What? I say, my foot, my tutor. Put thy sword up, traitor, who makes to show but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father.
Hang not on my garments.
Sir, have pity. I'll be his surety.
One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What? Advocate for an impostor? Hush! Thou thinkst there is no more such shapes as he, but yet having seen but him and Caliban, you foolish wench. To the most of men, this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Ho! Thy nerves are in their infancy again and have no vigour in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My mother's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wreck of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued are but light to me. Might I but, through my prison once a day, behold this maid? All corners else o' the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on, thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark what thou else shalt do for me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by this speech. This is unwonted, which now came from him.
Thou shalt be free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow, speak not for him.
Beseech you, ma'am, be merry. You have cause, so have we all of joy. For our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation. Few in millions can speak like this. Then, wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge.
Visitor will not give him or so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by, it will strike.
Sir?
One, tell.
When every grief is entertained that's offered comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Oh, dollar? Dollar comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord.
Why, what a spendthrift is he of his tongue.
I prithee spare.
Well, I have done. But yet.
He will be talking.
Though this island seemed to be desert, uninhabitable, and almost inaccessible.
Yet.
He could not miss it.
It must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
Aye, and as subtle as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere perfumed by a fen.
Here is everything advantageous to life.
Yeah, true. Save means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, eh? How green?
The ground indeed is dawny.
With an eye of green in it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit.
As many vouched rarities are.
That our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Afric at the marriage of the Queen's fair daughter, Claribel, to the King of Tunis.
'Twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen, not since widow Dido's time.
A widow? A pox of that! How came that widow in? Widow Dido?
What if he had said widower Aeneas too? Good Lord, how you do take it?
A widow Dido, said you. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Tunis, sir, was Carthage.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous harp. He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of it in the sea, bring forth more island.
Aye.
Why, in good time.
So we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
Mm-hmm. And the rarest that e'er came there.
Mate, I beseech you, Widow Dido.
Oh, Widow Dido! Aye, Widow Dido.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's wedding.
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there. For coming thence my son is lost, and in my rate she too, who is so far from Italy removed, I ne'er shall see her again. Oh, thou, mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made a meal of thee?
Lady, he may live. I saw him beat the surgers under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in a lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn bases bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss that would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she is at least banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief on't.
Prithee, peace.
You were nailed to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end of the beam should bow. We have lost your son, I fear, forever. Naples and Milan have more widows in them of this business-making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest of the loss.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
Most chirurgeonly.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord.
Hid so with nettle need.
Or docks or mallows.
And were the king on it, what would I do?
Escape being drunk for want of wine?
In the Commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate, letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use, metal, corn, or wine, or oil, no occupation, all men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure. No sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on't.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce, without sweat or endeavour. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have. But nature should bring forth of its own kind all poison, all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying amongst his subjects?
None, man. All idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
God save his majesty!
Oh, long live Gonzalo!
And do you mark me, man?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen, who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always used to laugh at nothing.
Ah, 'twas you we laughed at.
Oh, who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you, so you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was there given.
They have fallen flat long.
You are gentlemen of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and then go a bat fouling.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
Oh, no, I warrant you, I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh me asleep, for I am very heavy.
Oh, go, sleep, and hear us.
What? All so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would, with themselves, shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, ma'am, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow. When it doth, it is a comforter.
We too, my lady, will guard your person while you take rest and watch you. Watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
No, nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all, as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. Oh, what might, worthy Sebastian. Oh, what might. Oh, no more. And yet methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do. And surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep, die, rather, wink'st while thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me, which to do trebles the oar.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
That's so. To ebb, hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, whiles thus you mock it. In stripping it, you more invest it. Ebbing men, indeed, most often do so near the bottom run by their own fear or sloth.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed which throws thee much to yield.
Yes, thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuade, for he's a spirit of persuasion, only professed to persuade the queen, her sons, alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned, and that he sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that no hope. Oh, what a great hope you have. No hope. That way is another way. So high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Ah, yeah. Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Clarabelle.
Ah, she that is Queen of Tunis, she that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life, she that from Naples can have no note, unless the sun were post, the man of the moon's too slow, till newborn chins be rough and razorable, she that from whom? We all were sea swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act whereof what's past is prologue, what to come is yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true, my sister's daughter's Queen of Tunis, so is she heir of Naples, twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Clarabelle measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis, and let Sebastian wake. Say, this were death, that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than they now they are. There be that can rule Naples as well as she that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a chuff of as deep chat. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement. Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit upon me, much feater than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows. Now they are my men.
But for your conscience?
Aye, sir. Where lies that? For a kibe, 'twould put me to my slipper, but I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan, candied be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your sister, no better than the earth she lies upon. If she were that which now she's like, that's dead, whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever. Whilst you, doing thus, to the perpetual wink, for I might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not unbraid our course. For all the rest, thou take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gottest Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword, one stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and when I rear my hand, do you the like to fold it on Gonzalo?
Oh, but one word.
My master, through his art, foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, for else his project dies, to keep them living. While you here do snoring lie, open night conspiracy his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, shake off slumber and beware. Awake, awake.
Then let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels, preserve the queen.
How awake? Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
whilst we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like wolves, or rather like lions. Did it not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to fright a monster's ear to make an earthquake. Sure, it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon mine honor, ma'am, I heard a humming, and that's a strange one too, which did awake me. I shaked you, ma'am, and cried. As mine eyes opened, I saw their weapons drawn. What a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heaven keep him from these beasts, for he is sure in the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, Queen, go safely on to seek thy son.
Oh, the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, flats, on Prosper fall and make him by inchmeal a disease. His spirits heal me, and yet I must needs curse. But they'll no pinch, fright me with urchin, shows, pinch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark, out of my way, unless he bid them. But for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me, and after it bite me, then like a hedgehog's which lie tumbling in my barefoot way, and mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometimes am I all wound with others who would cloven tongues to hiss me into madness. Lo now, lo, here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood in slowly, I'll fall flat. Perchance he will not mind me.
Here's near the bush nor strug to bear off any weather at all. And another storm brewing. I hear it sing in the winds. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bombard that would shed its liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yon same clouds cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. What have we here? A man or a fish? Dead or alive? Fish. Smells like a fish, a very ancient and fish-like smell, a kind of not of the newest, poor John. A strange fish. Were I in England now, as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday food there, but would give a piece of silver, there would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar, they will lazy out 10 to see a dead Indian. Led like a man, and his fins like arms. Warn, all my troth! I do now let loose my opinion, hold it no longer. This is no peace, but an islander that hath lately suffered a thunderbolt. Oh, alas, the storm is come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no other shelter hereabouts. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I would here shroud till the dregs of the storm be past.
We shall no more to see, here shall I die ashore. This is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. The master, the swabber, the boatswain, and I, the gunner and his mate, loved Moll, Meg, Marian, and Margery, but none of us cared for Kate, for she had a tongue with tang, would cry to a sailor, "Go hang, ha!" She loved not the savour of tar nor pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where she did itch. Then to sea, boys, and let her go hang. To sea, boys, and let her go hang. This is a scurvy tune, too. But here's my comfort.
Do not tempt me, torment me, oh.
What's the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upon us with savages and men of India? I have not escaped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs. For it hath been said as proper a man as ever went on, that 4 legs cannot make him give ground, and it shall be said so again while Stephano breathes at nostrils.
Spirit torments me, oh!
This is some monster of the oil with 4 legs, with got as I take it an egg. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief, if it be but for that, if we can recover him and keep him tame and get him to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor ever trod on neat's leather.
Oh, do not torment me! I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in his fit now, and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle, and if he have never drunk wine or 4, will go near to remove his fit, if I can recover him and keep him tame. I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that hath him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but a little hurt. Thou wilt alone. I know it by thy trembling, and now Prospero works upon me.
Oh, come on your ways. Open your mouth. Here is that which will give language to you, cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking, I can tell you, and that soundly. You cannot tell who's your friend. Open your chops again.
I should know that voice. It should be. Well, he is drowned. And these are devils. Oh, defend me!
4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster. His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I will help his aid. Come, amen. I will pour some in thy other mouth. Doth thy other mouth call me? Mercy, this is a devil and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stephano! Yes, Stephano, touch me and speak to
thou beest, Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by thy lesser legs, eh? If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How camest thou to be the siege of this moon calf? Can he vent Trinculos?
I took him to be killed with a thunderstruck. But they're not drowned, Stephano.
Oh.
I hope thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead moon calf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And out thou living, Stephano!
Oh, prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
Oh, these be fine things, and if they be not sprites. That's a brave god, and the bears a celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack, which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle, which I made at the back of the tree with mine own hands since I was cast ashore. Here, swear then how thou escapest, Trinculo.
I swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Swim ashore, man, like a dead duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stephano, hast thou any more of this?
Oh, but man, my cellar is in a rock by the seaside where my wine is hid. How now, mooncalf? How dost thine egg?
Oh, hast thou dropped from heaven?
How to the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man of the moon when time was.
Oh, I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. And my mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Come, swear to that. Kiss the book.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I feared him. A very weak monster. A man in the moon. A most poor, credulous monster. Well-drawn monster in good sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my god.
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster. When his god's asleep, he'll rob his battle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I swear myself thy subject.
Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. A most scurvy monster. I could find it in my heart to beat him.
Come, kiss.
But that's a poor monster's in drink. An abominable monster.
I'll show thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. A plague upon that tyrant that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, go, a wondrous man.
A most ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
I pray, let me bring thee where crabs grow, and I will with my long nails dig thee pig nuts, Show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble mouse. I'll bring thee to a clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get thee young scammels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
I prithee now lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the queen and all our company, else being drowned, we will inherit here. Here! Monster! Right. There, my bottle, fellow Trinculo. We'll fill him by and by again.
Oh, farewell, master. Farewell, farewell.
Oh, you monster! You monster!
And no more dams. I'll make for fish. No fetching, firing, and requiring no scrape attention. No wash dish. A bun, Caliban, Caliban, That's the new master. Get the new man. A freedom. I hate it. A freedom. I hate it. I hate it. A freedom.
Oh, brave monster, lead the way!
There be some sports are painful, and their labour delight in them sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious. But the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, and makes my labours pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon some sore injunction. But my sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work, and says such baseness had never like executor. I forget. But these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labours, most busy lest when I do it.
Alas now, pray you work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you were enjoined to pile. Pray, set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray now, rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature. I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should dishonour undergo while I sit lazy by.
Okay, it would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease. For my goodwill is to it, and yours it is against. You look wearily.
No, noble mistress. 'Tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I have broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda, indeed the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, and never any with so fun soul. But some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed, and put it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex. No woman's face, remember, save from my glass, mine own, nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. How features are abroad, I am skillless of. But by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you. Nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king, I would not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service, and there resides to make me slave to it. And for your sake am I this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven, oh, earth. Bear witness to this sound, and crown what I profess with kind event if I speak true. And if holily, invert what best is boded me to mischief. I, beyond all limit of what else in the world, do love, prize, and honour you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness, that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence, bashful cunning, and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow you may deny me, but I'll be your servant whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
Aye, with a heart as willing as bondage, over of freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it. And now farewell till half an hour hence.
1,000 thousands.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens, rain grace on that which breeds between them. So glad of this as they I cannot be, who are surprised withal, but my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
Tell me not when the butter's out, we will drink water. Not a drop before. Therefore, bear up and boredom. Servant monster, drink to me, eh?
Servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there's but 5 upon this isle. We are 2 of them. If the other 2 be brain like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. My eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where should they be set else? He were a brave monster indeed, if they were set in his tail.
My monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore, 5 and 30 leagues off and on. By this light thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
You're a lieutenant, if you list. He's no standard.
Will not run, Monsieur Monster.
Nor go neither. But you like lying dogs, and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, huh? Speak once in thy life that thou beest a good mooncalf.
How does thy honour? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him. He is not valid.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am encased to jostle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou, was there ever man a coward that hath drunk so much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half a fish and half a monster?
No, how he mocks me. Wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, that a monster is such unnatural.
No, again, bite him to death, I prithee.
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your head. And if you prove a mutineer, the next tree, huh? The poor monster's my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
Oh, I thank thee, my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken again, once again, to the suit I made to thee?
Marry, will I kneel and repeat it? No, I will stand, and so shall Trinculo, huh?
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, that by his coming hath cheated me of the island.
Thou liest.
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey! Thou, I would, my valiant master, destroy thee! I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more in stale by this hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
None then, and no more. Proceed.
Say, by sorcery, he got this eye. From me, he got it. If thy greatness will revenge it on him, why now thou darest, but this thing it dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, my lord. I'll yield him thee asleep, where thou mayest knock a nail in his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not.
What a pity pie is this! Thou, scurvy patch! I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he shall drink naught but brand, for I'll not show him where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt the monster one word further. And by this hand, I'll turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
What did I? I did nothing. I'll go further off.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Do I so? Take thou that! As you like this, give me the lie another time, eh?
Not get the lie! Out of your wits and bearing too! A pox on your bottle! This can second drinking too. A rain on your monster, and the devil take your fingers!
No, forward with your tail. Prithee, stand farther off.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand farther. Come, proceed.
Why, as I ever told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayst brain him, having first seized his books, or with a log batter his skull, or punch him with a stake, or cut his waist end with thy knife. Remember first to possess his books, for without them he is but a sot, as I am. Nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. But his books, he has brave utensils, for so he calls them, which when he has a house he'll deck with all, and then most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a non-peril. I never saw a woman but only Sycorax, my dog, and she as far surpasseth Sycorax, as greatest does at least.
Is it so brave, alas?
Aye, Lord, she will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I will be king and queen. Save our graces. And Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Oh, excellent.
Give me thy hand. I'm sorry I beat thee, but whilst thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head, huh?
Within this half hour will he be asleep? Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on thine honour.
This will I tell my master.
Thou makes me merry. I am full of pleasure. Let us be jocund. Wilt thou throw the catch? You taught me but one.
At thy request, monster, I will do reason. Any reason. Come on, Trinculo. Let us sing, huh? Floatum and scotum.
And scotum and floatum.
God is free.
Tart is free.
That is not the tune.
What is this, Sam?
This is the tune of our cat, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest a devil, take it as thou list.
Oh, forgive my sins!
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee! No mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about my ears, and sometimes voices that, if I then had waked after long sleep, would make me sleep again. And then, in dreaming, the clouds, methought, would open and show riches ready to drop upon me that, when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
I shall be, boy and boy. I remember the story.
The sound is going away. Let's follow it, and after do our work.
A lead, monster. We'll follow. Well, would I could see this taborer. He lays it on.
Which come? I follow, Stephano.
By a lake, and I can go no further, ma'am. My old bones ache. Here's a maze trod indeed, through forthrights and meanders. By your patience, I must needs rest me.
Old Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here will I put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned, whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I am right glad that she's so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forgo the purpose that you resolved to effect.
The next advantage will be we take Throughly.
Let it be tonight. Oh, for now, they are oppressed with travel. They will not or cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark!
Marvelous sweet music.
Give us kind keepers, heavens! What are these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both, and what does else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true travellers ne'er did lie, though fools at home condemn 'em.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes these are people of the island, who, though they are monstrous shape, yet note their manners are more gentle kind than of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse. Such shape, such gesture, and such sound, expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
They vanished strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Will please you taste of what is here?
Not I.
Faith, ma'am, you need not fear. When we were children, who would believe that there were mountaineers dew-lapped like bulls whose throats had hanging at them wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5 for 1 will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last, no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke, stand to and do as we.
You are 3 sinners, whom destiny that hath to instrument his lower world and what is in't, the never surfeited sea, hath caused to belch up you, and on this island where man doth not inhabit, you, amongst those being most unfit to live. I have made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools. I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with bemocked stabs kill the still closing waters, as diminished one dwow that's in my bloom. My fellow ministers alike invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strengths, and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea, which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers, delaying, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Thee of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering affliction, worse than any death can be at once. Shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here, in this most desolate isle, else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart, sorrow, and a clear life ensuing.
Bravely, the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. A grace it had, devouring of my instruction, hast thou nothing bated in what thou hadst to say. So, good life and observation. Strange my meaner ministers there several kinds have done. My high charms work. And these my enemies are all knit up in their distractions. Now they are in my power. And in these fits I leave them while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine own loving darling.
In the name of something holy, ma'am, why stand you in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous. Monstrous. Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prospero. It debased my trespass. Therefore, my son i' the oozes bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than air plummet sounded, and with him there lie muddered.
But one fiend at a time, I'll fight their legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now begins to bite the spirits.
If I too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For here I have given you a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, whom once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test here afore heaven. I ratify this my rich gift. Oh, Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast her off, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it, against an oracle.
Then, as my gift and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all sanctimonious ceremonies with full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersion shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate. And sour-eyed disdain and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it both. Therefore, take heed, as Hymen's lights shall blind you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion, and our worser genius can, shall never melt mine honour into lust, to take away the edge of that day's celebration, when I shall think, or Phoebus' steeds are founded, or night kept chained below.
Well, fairly spoke. Talk with her. She is thine own. Ariel! Ariel, what? My industrious servant, Ariel!
What would my potent master? Here I am.
Thou and thy meaner fellows your last service did worthily perform, and I must use you in such another trick. Go, bring the rabble, o'er whom I give thee power. Here to this place, incite them to quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It's my promise, they expect it from me.
Presently?
Aye, within a week.
Before you can say come and go, and breathe twice and cry so, each one tripping on his toe, we'll be here with mop and mow. Do you love me, master? No?
Dearly, my delicate Ariel, do not approach till thou dost hear me call.
Well, I conceive.
Look, thou be true. Do not give diligence. Too much the rain. The strongest oaths a straw to the fire of the blood. Be more abstemious, or else good night your vow.
I warrant you, sir, the white, cold virgin snow upon my heart abates the ardour of my liver.
Well, now, come, my Ariel. Come, bring a corollary. Rather than want a spirit, appear. Pertly. No tongue, all eyes, be silent.
Of true love to celebrate, and some donation freely to estate on the blessed lovers.
Tell me, heavenly bow, if Venus or her son, as thou dost know, do attend on the queen, since they did plot the means which dusky Dis my daughter got, her and her blind boy's scandaled company, I have forsworn.
Of her society be not afraid. I met her deity cutting the clouds towards Paphos, and her son dove-drawn with her. Here thought they have done some wonted charm upon this man and maid, whose vows are that no bed right shall be paid, till Hymen's torch be lighted. But vain. Mars's hot minion is returned again. Her waspish-headed son has broke his arrows, swears he will shoot no more but play with sparrows, and be a boy right out.
highest queen of state, great Juno comes. I know her by her gait.
How does my bounteous sister? Come with me to bless this train, that they may prosperous be, and honoured in their issue.
Honor reaches marriage blessing, long continuance and increasing. Holy joys be still upon you. Juno sings her blessings upon you. Earth's increase, boys and plenty, barns and garners never empty, vines and clusters, bunches growing, plants with goodly birth and bowing, spring come to you at the farthest, in the very end of harvest, scarcity and want shall shun you. Ceres' blessing so is on you.
This is a most majestic vision, harmoniously charming. May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which by mine art I have from their confines called to enact my present fancies.
Let me live here ever, so rare a wondered father and a wife, to make this place paradise.
Sweet now, silence. Juno and Ceres whisper seriously. There's something else to do. Hush now. Mute. Or else I'll spell his mouth.
With your set crowns and Javanos looks, leave your crisp tanners out on this green land. Answer your summons, Juno does command. Contemporaries and time to celebrate a contract of true love, be not too late. You sunburnt, seek woman of August weary, come hither from furrows that may vary. Make holiday your eyes twice put on, and these fresh lips encounter everyone.
I had forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come. Well done. Avoid. No more.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly.
Never till this day saw I him touched with anger so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you. Oh, we're spirits, and are all melted into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, ye all which will inherit it shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a right behind. We're such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is branded with a sleep. Sir, I'm vexed. Bear with my weakness, but my brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity, but if you be pleased, retire unto my cell. There repose. A turn or two I'll walk. That's still my beating mind.
We wish your peace.
Come, with a thought. I thank thee, Ariel. Come!
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Perritt, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
Aye, my commander. When I presented Cerise, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?
I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so fun of valour, and they smote the air for breathing in their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Then I beat my table, at which, like unbacked colts, they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses as they smelt music. So I charmed their ears that calf like they, my lowing followed through, tooth briers, sharp furzes, pricking goss and thorns, which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, their dancing up to the chins that the foul lake o'erstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house, go bring it hither. For no stale to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil. A born devil on whose nature nurture can never stick. On whom my pains humanly taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age, his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to ruin. Come! Hang them on this line! Hang them still!
Pray you, tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. You now near his cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than play the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you.
Thou were but a lost monster.
Good my lord, give me thy favour still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee to shall hoodwink this mischance. Therefore, speak softly. All's hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool.
There's not only disgrace and dishonour in that, monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wetting. Yet this is your harmless fairy monster.
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be over ears for my labour.
Be my king! Be quiet! Seest thou here? This is the mouth of the cell. No noise, and enter. Do that good mischief which may make this island thine own forever, and I, thy Caliban, for I, thy footlicker.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stephano! Oh, Peer! Oh, worthy Stephano!
Huh?
Look what a wardrobe here is for thee!
Let it alone, thy fool! It is but trash.
Oh, monster! We know what belongs to a fickery. Oh, King Stephano!
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown, eh?
Oh. Thy grace shall have it.
I drops it down this fool. What do you mean to tote us on such luggage? Let's alone. Get to the matter first. If he awake, from toe to ground, he'll fill our skins with pitches. It makes us strange stuff.
Be you quiet, monster. Mistress Loin, is this not my jerkin, huh? Now is the jerkin under the line. Now, jerkin, you're like to lose your hat and prove, no, of all jerkin.
We steer by line and level, ain't like your grace.
I thank thee for that jest. Here's a garment for it, which shall not go unrewarded while I am king of this country. Steel by line and level is an excellent pass of pate. There's another garment for it.
Monster, come, put some lime on your fingers and away with the rest.
I'll have none on it. We shall lose our time and all be turned to barnacles. The two apes with the foreheads filling us low.
Monster, lay to your fingers. Help to bear this away where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Go to, carry this.
And this.
Aye, and this.
Hey, Martin! Hey!
Silver! Aye, there it goes! Silver!
Fury there! Terrence there! Hark! Hark! Oh, charge my goblin! They grind their joints with dry convulsions! Shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pig-spotted make them than part a cat of the mountains!
They roar!
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lie at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labours end, and thou shalt have the heir at freedom. Oh, for a little follow and do me service. Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with this carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, you said our work should cease.
I did say so, when first I raised the Tempest, but say, my spirit, how fares the Queen and her followers?
Confined together, in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them, all prisoners, sir. In the lime grove which weather fens your cell, they cannot budge till your release. The Queen, her brother, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay, but chiefly him that you termed, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears run down his beard like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Your charm so strongly works him, that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but ere a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, shalt not myself, as one of their kind, that relish all as sharply, passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I'm struck to the quick, yet my nobler reason gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, The sole drift of my purpose doth extend not a frown further. Go. Release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore. They shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
Ye elves of brook, hills, standing lakes and groves, ye that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune and do fly him when he comes back, you demi-puppets, that by moonshine do the great sour ringlets make, whereof the yew not bites, and you whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms, that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though you be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vaults, set roaring war to the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt, and strong-based promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and the cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let them forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have required some heavenly music, which even now I do to work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for, I will break my staff and deeper bury it, certain fathoms in the earth, deeper than ever did plummet sound, I'll drown my book. A solemn air, and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy cure thy brains. Now, useless, spoiled within thy skull, there stand, for you are spell-stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine four fellowly drops. The charm dissolves apace as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. Good Gonzalo, my true preserver and a loyal sir to him you followest, I will pay thy graces home, both in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse and nature, who with Sebastian, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your queen. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Hi! Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me or would know me. Ariel, fetch my coat and the rapier in my cell. I will discase me and present myself as I was sometime Milan. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the bee sucks the suck I, in a cowslip's bell I lie. There I couch when owls do cry, on the bat's back I do fly. After summer merrily, merrily, merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, but yet thou shalt have freedom. So to the Queen's ship. Invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches, the master and the boatswain, being awake, enforce them to this place. Presently, I prithee.
I drink the air before me and return, or ere your pulse twice beat.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabit here. Some heavenly power guides us out of this fearful country.
Behold, my queen, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does here now speak to thee, I embrace your body. And to thee and thy company, I bid a hearty welcome.
Whether thou beest he or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I know not. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I thaw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear madness held me. This must crave. And if this be at all a most strange story, thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honour cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties in the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. But you, my brace of lords, were I so minded I could pluck her highness frown upon you and justify you traitors. This time I'll tell no tales.
Devil speaks in him.
No. For you, Antonio, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive. Thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy present preservation, how thou hast met us here, who 3 hours since were wrecked upon this shore, where I have lost, oh, how sharp the point of that remembrance is, my dear son, Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, ma'am.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says it is past her cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You? The like loss?
As great to me as late, and supportable to make the dear loss, have I much means weaker than you may call to comfort you, for I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh, heavens! That they were living both in Naples, the king and queen there. That they were. I wish myself were muddered in that oozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest. I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much admire that they devour their reason and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth. Their words are natural breath, but whosoe'er you have been jostled through from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero. And that very duke which was thrust forth of Milan, who most strangely upon this shore where you were wrecked, was landed to be the lord on. No more yet of this, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day, not a relation for a breakfast, nor befitting of this first meeting. Welcome, ma'am. This cell's my court. Here I have few attendants and subjects none abroad. Pray you, look in. My dukedom, since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing. At least bring forth a wonder to content ye as much as me, my dukedom.
Check.
Sweet lord, you play me false.
No, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I most them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad mother encompass thee about.
Oh, wonder.
Arise and say how thou camest here.
How many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is. Oh, brave new world that has such people in it.
Is new to thee.
What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. Is she the goddess that hath severed us and brought us thus together?
Ma'am, she is mortal, but by immortal providence, she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my mother for her advice, nor thought I had one. She is the daughter of this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life and a second father. This lady makes him to me.
I am hers. But, oh, how oddly will it sound that I must ask my child's forgiveness.
There, sir. Stop. Let us not burden our remembrance with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you God, and on this couple drop a blessed crown. For it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
Oh, I say amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan thrust from Milan that his issue should become kings of Naples? I rejoice beyond a common joy and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Claribel, her husband, find a tunic, and Ferdinand, her brother, found a wife where he himself was lost. Prospero, his dukedom in a poor isle, and all of us ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy.
Be it so, amen. Oh, look, ma'am, here is more of us. I prophesied if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. Now, blasphemy that swearest grace overboard, not an oath on shore? Hast thou no mouth, my lad? What is the news?
Best news is that we have safely found our queen and company. The next, our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave our split, is tight and yar and bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Sir, all this service have I done since I went.
Tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I did think, ma'am, that I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches, but even now with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were awaked straightway at liberty, where we, in all her trim, freshly beheld our royal good and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her. On a trice, so please you, even in a dream, were we divided from them and were brought moping hither.
Was't well done?
Bravely, my diligence, thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er men trod. And there is in this business more than nature was ever conduct of. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Ma'am, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At picked leisure, which shall be shortly, single I'll resolve you, which to you shall seem improbable. Of all of these happened accidents, till when, be cheerful, and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares, my gracious highness? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Every man shoot for all the rest, and let no man take care for himself, for all is but fortune. Good job, elements to
If these be true spies which I wear in my head, here's a goodly sight.
Oh, Setavos, these be brave spirits indeed. How fine my master is. I am afraid he will chastise me.
What things are these, my Lord Antonio? Will money buy them?
Very like one of them is a plain fish and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lords, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so that could control the moon, its ebbs and flows, and deal in her command without her power. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stephano, my drunken butler? He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is reeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor that hath gilded them? How camest thou in this pickle?
I've been in such a pickle since I saw you last that I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not fear fly blowing.
Why, how now, Stephano?
Oh, touch me not, I am not Stephano, but a cramp.
You'd be king of the Isles, sir.
I should have been a sore one then.
This is a strange thing as e'er I looked on.
He is as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, Highness, to my cell. Take with you your companions as you look to have my pardon. Trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I'll be wise hereafter. For grace. What a thrice doubled ass was I to take this drunkard for a god and worship this dull fool.
Go to, away.
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather.
Ma'am, I invite your Highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourse as I not doubt shall make it go quick away. The story of my life and the particular accidents gone by since I came into the isle. And in the morn I shall bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I hope to have seen the nuptial of these, our dear beloved, solemnized. And thence retire me to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you can't seize auspicious gales, and sail so expeditious shall catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, check. It's thy charge. Then to the elements be free. Fare thou well. Please you, draw near. Now, My charms are all o'erthrown, and what strengths I have's mine own, which is most faint, now 'tis true. I must be confined here by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have now my dukedom got, and pardoned the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell. But release me from my bands, with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and as my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.
And now, please give a big round of applause for the cast of The Tempest. Keep that round of applause going for the people behind the scenes, the creative, technical, and production team who have brought this play to your screens today. Hello, I'm Alex Perritt. I'm the director of today's show. Thank you for watching The Tempest, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Stream Shakespeare will continue to present live stream stage readings of Shakespeare's works every Sunday. If you enjoyed The Tempest, tune in next week for Titus Andronicus, directed by Haki Pepu Olu Krisden, live streaming from 2 p.m. Sunday time. Don't forget to like and share this video and follow Stream Shakespeare on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now. See you next weekend.